Welcome to Creating Better Products, where we explore the real world stories from product leaders, not just their successes, but also their failures and lessons learned. You will get practical takeaways and tips that you can apply tomorrow. I'm your host, Sabrina Mach. I have almost 2 decades of experience and I love learning from others. This is why my mission is to share the stories of amazing product leaders with you and the world. And today I have a very special guest, Jens Riewe. I'm super excited, Jens, to have you on the show. We worked together a long time ago, 8 years ago, at a consulting company, and stayed in touch. And now you're at an exciting startup venture in the finance industry. I'm totally completely misintroducing yourself. So maybe I hand over to you, Jens. Can you tell us a little bit about your background and where your journey has taken you over the years?
Yeah, heartily hello, and thank you very much for inviting me to your show. Deeply enjoying being your guest here, Sabrina. As Sabrina already said, 6 years ago we were on the same project during our consultancy phase, and as well, maybe starting with some very basic things. Living in Potsdam with a small family and a dog. And I was starting working 3 decades ago. So it's ages, but you see less hair than Sabrina. So did a lot of product consultancy or software consultancy in product visioning, product strategy, digital transformation as well on some projects. Then was starting with two fintechs, one in Berlin, joint venture between FinLeap, big fintech venture capital builder, and DVAG, which is a financial advisory company in Germany. And then the second one in Munich for Allianz Insurance. And today I'm MD of Übersee Hub, which is a subsidiary of Sparkasse Bremen. And we are building fintech products or products to make financial services much easier for people.
Nice. So MD is the managing director, but I think you wear many hats, right? You're also the CPO and
Yeah, we were a tiny little fintech. So we took over last year in April. Got a empty shoebox with two legacy apps in it and no people at all. And from scratch, we were building up a fintech company. So we have some front end developers, back end developers, infrastructure designers, tiny little marketing team. We're 20 people now. But as you can imagine, as an MD, you're really doing everything yourself, everything the others don't like to do. So even doing credit card accounting and stuff like this, need to do that stuff by myself as well.
yeah, the joy of doing a startup, right? You wear many hats and get to do so many things. So, in the last 6 years, you've kind of become the kind of fintech dude, if I can label you as that, with deep expertise in that. And well, we will touch on much of your experience today, but specifically, Jens, I think we said let's talk about how can we rethink products. And now listeners might say, okay, why do we need to rethink products, right? Startups start on the green field. Everything is new. We invent stuff. But actually, when we're coming up with ideas for products, sometimes when we test them, we find, oh, didn't really work, or not what we expected, or something else, which puts you in the situation, Jens, of rethinking the idea that you've had. And that's what we want to talk about today. So I'm really curious around your journey into the rethinking part. I was going to say what makes you an expert on it, but I think you're probably not never an expert on like rethinking. It's just being able to let go and try something else. But I'm curious, like, what was your journey into being comfortable with that and being able to do that?
I think one of the big advantages is if you are not not a professional in the business, not a professional in the domain of finance industry, for example. I'm just a user as you as well, or everybody else. So like end users, and just rethinking about why the heck is it like this, and it's the majority of solutions are made from bankers or from people from the financial industry for others, and they have their Googles on them. So it's sometimes better if you are not wearing their Googles, if you're taking them off and start thinking completely independently, and trying to find solutions from a user perspective, and from the what we want to solve with it, or what is the problem you want to solve, and find a way to treat it.
Ah, fascinating. So it's almost like bringing the if I can make it extreme, the perspective of the novice to the field. You're not scared to ask questions that maybe the expert wouldn't feel comfortable in asking, because we're all, experts and we all understand what we're doing. But you ask questions in a new way. You look at it with a new lens that is not the expert, but takes that from that expert domain into a domain where normal people like myself, I mean, non-finance experts, would be able to understand and use financial products.
Yeah, it's maybe the a good way to overcome these old habits, and what we were used to in the last, I don't know, 150, 200 years of an industry like a financial industry, with still some very old tradition organizational forms as well, as you can find them in the
Mm-hmm.
industry. And as you see, software industry is usually working completely different. Of course, you have these cult businesses as well, like these big players where you have the founder and everybody is adoring them and wants to work with these crazy software companies. But a lot of software startups are not cult businesses. They're completely working in a different way, and it's and even a different way of works, how you or methodologies as you used to work. So non-hierarchical, with giving people the power to do and to yeah, start become flying.
That sounds really nice and challenging. Can you give us a little bit of a deep dive in your everyday workings of not being that shiny cult company, but like really working things out as a startup and trying to create those new innovative products that non-experts can use? What does that look like in your day to day? And maybe how's that different from how people might have worked in the past?
The different thing is maybe that we are approaching it in comparison. I mean, we are a subsidiary of a tiny little bank in Germany. So Sparkasse Bremen, as you know, 355 Sparkassen in Germany. All of them are regionally. You sometimes owned by the local governments or local communities. There are two, three, five independent ones, like in Hamburg and in Bremen, and these 355 siblings have one common or are associated in one roof organization, and they have a financial tech provider who is doing it and delivering software to them. But you can imagine that delivering software and then aligning it with such a big family, 355 sisters or brothers, is quite tricky, as you can imagine. If you're looking at your own family, sometimes with two children, it's tricky, and and aligning with a smaller group. So that was one of the ideas behind Übersee Hub and why the company was founded. Trying out new things and just being on the market and trying it out much faster than you could do it in a big organization. That was a starting point. It did two apps for the Bremen market only, but it's a quite small one. I mean, 600,000 inhabitants. It's overviewable, and it's not really scaling. Even if you are one of the first movers in the market size is just too small. So Sparkasse Bremen, the board decided to do a new focus last year in March and realign. And so that was the point when Tede, my counterpart in the as another managing director, and me, we came in and took over and started building a business model for the company, and really starting from scratch and really building a what we would call a startup with own developers, with own research, with own designers as well as and product managers, and doing this with cross-functional team where everybody helps and supports each other and is talking and exchanging a lot, and not in silos, as you maybe used to do this in larger organizations where you start thinking in silos. And this is how we are doing it. I mean, everybody read probably Johnny Schneider and knows these three pillars. You're starting with evaluating the problem and understanding the problem users are facing, and finding solutions, and you widen the spectrum, and then you're tightening it, and you come up with stuff like design thinking diamonds or other approaches, and come to a point where you know what you want to build. You build the right things. That's the next step, and then you build it right and scale up at the end. But yeah, this is how we are doing it basically. Not following a
This sounds
paradigm.
this sounds really great, like, the perfect sunny day example. So I'm going to nudge you to maybe to our topic also, because yeah, exploring the problem space, finding the right problem to solve, then solving the problem, then building it right sounds great. Um, but it's not that easy.
Yeah, it's always not that easy. I mean, we are just a small fintech. We are 20 people, so we have lots of ideas, and we have we were starting to build a first solution for energetical renovation. That was a kind of a calculator last year we started with. Built this
Hmm.
product in 3 months. That was quite easy, and it was very focused. And we came to the point that we wanted to do a real platform for everything around housing and living. But we have lots of other ideas as well, and this is the other challenge, that we are as well a kind of ideation lab. Although big companies used to not go any longer into this ideation lab thing, but we still have lots of ideas, and want to challenge it, and want to build it, and want to try out. And on the other side, we have just a small team, and we could easily have more people aboard, because we have lots of. It's not the number of ideas which are coming up. I mean, every Sunday
How do you prioritize?
it's
Like,
prioritization is a tricky thing. I think this is the biggest challenge of every product manager. It's a question, or it's the capability of being able to say no, and to live with the consequences if you're saying no to something.
and how do you do that though? How do you say no? And how do you get to what to say no to?
One thing we are using is we drifted away from this classical roadmaps. So
Hmm.
there is a very nice framework, maybe you heard about, now, next, later. And I really was overcoming with these 12 months roadmaps, and everybody was forcing me to in the last jobs by stakeholders, and they were pushing me to when do we have this feature, and when are you delivering it? And you said this will be delivered by end of September, and now we have mid of September, and is it really coming? And I think this is just not working. It's there's no user in the market who is waiting for it. It's just a promise by managers and user. And usually, if you are delayed from the beginning, at the end it's all pushed to the developers, and that all the pressure is put on their shoulders, and this is toxinating the working culture and the company culture, because they have to work on weekends and have to fix something, and then you're doing releases on a Friday afternoon, and something is breaking, and so we completely stopped doing this, because there's no user in the market awaiting it. It's just it's ready when it's ready, and we try to find a way where the 80% is okayish, and then you can learn already with it. So things usually don't need to be 100% perfect. You just start learning, and learning early, failing early, and taking failure as a chance to learn. And encouraging people to fail. I mean, we are not in the medical sector where people try to hide failures.
So this brings us nicely to our topic, I believe. So failing, making small experiments, failing fast. When you do fail and when you need to rethink, how do you do that? And how do you create the space for that also in the team to be comfortable with that and rethink?
Um, So embracing it is one thing. So not no finger pointing, no punishment for doing failures. So I mean, if you do the same failure three, four, five times, then I mean there should be a point where you should learn from it. But it's completely okay-ish. One thing was our in our app we were or in our platform we were developing was registration process, and I think we changed it now for the third time within the last 12 months. So the first line of code was written in somewhere in August last year. We were launching the app in the app stores in November, Decemberish, something like this, and
Mhm.
we changed the login or the sign up registration three times. So we did it in the beginning, then we did it not in the proper way. We did user tests always, but whatever you are testing, people are sometimes telling you what you want to hear, maybe, and then they're using it differently, and then people were starting downloading the app, walking through the intro screens, and then they were deinstalling and stopping the journey. Now we put it at the very end, only when it's really necessary. Trying again to do it with a I don't know more hoop model approach. Only when something is necessary, we are asking for data. It's a little bit better now. Um, we see consequences that we have maybe a little bit less registrations, but people using the app more frequently. So this is what we are doing. So it's a learning progress, and a learning curve. We are trying to understand user behavior, and sometimes what is possible with other apps. And this is a funny thing that I mean, you have common behaviors, and you see patterns. I mean, whatever kind of app you're usually downloading, a lot of them are doing the sign up in the beginning, and then afterwards you only see what you can use. And not quite sure whether they are facing the same problem, but there are some others where you have kind of sign up later, and you can use and sign up is already the switch from freemium to you're paying with data thing. So it's yeah, it's a learning curve, and sometimes you have to even overcome with industry rules or industry basics.
Yeah, what I love about this is that just copying what others are doing doesn't necessarily help you. If you say, like, most people are, or most products ask for the sign up at the front. Um, from what you shared was that yes, you get more people to sign up, but you get less people to use the product. And I think that's a really interesting insight. Plus, what's really your measure of success? Is it signups or is it people using the product? That's what I took out, that when you said, like, if we do it at the end, we actually get more people to use the product, which I would see as a greater success than having tons of people signing up but then not
Yeah,
going through to
usage, and then somehow you need to monitorize probably as well. So at least with what we want to do,
yeah.
at the moment we are still we are still copying, and we are still a Me Too product. So that's the funny thing. With some products we were inventing as Über Sie Hub, we were first movers in the market. So we were one of the first ones using open banking with our personal finance manager with Money app, but then haven't developed it further because other banks were coming with multi-banking approaches, and that was the probably the reason why Übersee Hub was stopping working on the Money app. It's the same with the what you find on the Baufi-App.de, which is a budget calculator for Bremen market to how much house can I afford. At the very beginning of the journey, I want to buy something, an apartment or a single family house for myself or for my family, and want to calculate the budget. Uber was the first one at all, and then you have a lot of others were copying it in the last 3 years. Because the market size was not big enough, and people were maybe moving, and the focus as well at the Sparkasse Bremen was shifted a little bit. It was not developed any further, and now at the moment we are bringing a lot of jigsaw pieces together in our FE platform, and have to do what if you're looking at the counter model, what you find on the bottom right is usually these all the stuff you need to build. And if you don't have these kind of features or solutions, no user would start clapping. But if you're
The
not
hygiene
having it,
factors.
then they wouldn't be satisfied, but they would be enormously dissatisfied if you don't have it. So basic stuff like password recovery. I mean, this is a starts with features like this. This needs to be built. Nobody would clap if, oh, they have a password recovery. That's amazing. No, it's you need to build it, but even this is something you can make better or even worse or whatever. So what I want to say, so at the moment we are still in building the basics, the basic functionalities of our app, and then we want to become first mover in the field next year.
Ah, that's actually my question that I was going to ask you. When do you copy, and for which areas, or like which products or which parts of the product, and when and how do you focus on the first mover part? I think that would be really interesting to tease out a little bit.
Yeah, it's a mixture of everything. I mean, even in a feature or in a solution, I want to get rid of these feature thinking. We want to build solutions for users, and they don't want to know whether this is called the budget calculator. And nobody would look up on Google. I mean, it's the same for SEO. I mean, people are not looking to find a solution. They usually, if they're searching, they're searching for a problem. I have a pain in my arm, and they're not looking out to what can I do to prevent getting pains in my arm. So,
Hmm.
and this is maybe the way how people are using apps as well. They want to find a solution for their existing problem. So they're not looking up for features. And this is one way on doing it in a different way. But the starting point from our discussion was you try something out with industry standard, like you start with doing some intro screens, then starting registration, and then the app starts with functionality. And yeah, we come to another point and found out that people were distracted and not using it.
Hmm. And then how did you use that insight? How did that shape your product and the rethinking the product?
This slows us down. So I mean, whenever you build something, you are convinced, and you have to rebuild it. This always takes time, and you know that development costs are probably the highest in software delivery. So it's much better if you're doing prototyping and you can change prototypes instead of changing code at the end. But yeah, it's a part. Don't stick with if you learn something, change it, and
Yeah, because also if you say,
communicate openly that you did another learning.
yeah, because if you say it slows us down, but I mean, slows you down what? Building things,
Yeah, it
but
slows us down
creating
building them,
value.
but at the end, it brings a higher value to the user. It brings a higher value, and if it brings a higher value to the user, it will affect our conversion as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Implementing the learning earlier will actually make you faster to value. It will slow down delivery, but it will speed up value creation.
Yeah, and sometimes you're not foreseeing some usage. I mean, we did this cool thing like the renovation advisor part, or this tool, and we were thinking of last year in when we started developing it in April May. We were thinking of doing it for real estate owners, so people who own a single family house, because this was the focus group, and they were affected mostly by raising energy costs. And we thought this is now the right time. Everybody was discussing these heat pump costs 300,000 euros or something like this with these crazy politicians telling these fake news to the people, and we wanted to clarify it and give a real tool to the hand. And then what we found out with calling users and real people who were using it, that yeah, this is our target group, and they were using it, but it was also used by people who are just starting thinking of buying an existing house. And they want to check not only the budget or what they want to what they need for the financing for the loan to purchase it, but also want already to check how much would it cost to get my house I want to buy more energy efficient. How can I reduce my energy bills? And what
Mhm.
would this investment mean? And we were even thinking at the first ones, I mean, there were some renovation advisors in the market. We were the first ones who were thinking not only what does it cost to me, but also to what is the increase in market value for the building? Because it's not only I'm not only saving every month. This is maybe just if I really need to do the buy a new heating system, then I what is a better alternative? But I'm also doing an investment in my house with this kind of renovation. It's not like I'm painting the walls green and the next buyer doesn't like it because it's green and they want to have it yellow. I mean, this is not an investment, but changing something in the insulation, changing something in the roof, putting a photovoltaic. This is really increasing the value because it's more sustainable. And that was a different
Mhm.
viewpoint, and nobody else was covering that.
And what did that mean in terms of rethinking the product? You more or less accidentally discovered a new target group. What did that do to your product and your product strategy?
So that's something we just found recently out, and it will have an effect on our how we want to build our platform, the FE platform we started to build. So it won't be only this kind of real estate search, and then we are doing financing stuff. It will include this renovation advisor part at a quite early step already, and integrate it for people who are looking for something, and not only for people who own something. So we are changing the user journey with our new findings.
Exciting, exciting. And you're really targeting that product additionally at that journey and that need.
Yeah, and this is
Uh,
the advantage of coming back to the point. How are you doing it? Now, Next Later helps me a lot with it as a kind of framework for road mapping. So we are not doing a 12 months roadmap or schedule or what we want to do in the next 12 months, because there's a lot of stuff we are working on right now. And this is what we obviously know. And then we have the next chunks of what we want to tackle as next ones, which are prioritized. And you always need some preface for design and for user research and to check stuff. And then there's some later stuff. But if I'm doing this 12 months roadmap, I know immediately when I've finished and have shown it to somebody that the world has already changed, and I can spend my whole life, my whole day just with moving around stuff on my bigger roadmap. So these
mhm.
waterfall approaches are not. At least I came to the conclusion that this is not working, not helpful. So doing different roadmap approaches to different stakeholder groups, I think this is a much better approach, and so therefore
Ooh, how
we.
do you do that? Different roadmap
I
approaches
mean,
for
I mean
different.
for marketer, for example, it's not interesting when are we working on building a feature. For them, it's only interesting when will it come, more or less, and that I can prepare my campaigning. And
Mhm.
they don't need to know what will come in 6 months' time. They don't
Yeah.
need to know what comes in 12 months' time. So for them, it's not important. So I have my later chunks, or it's more like I don't know, a Thai soup or Vietnamese bowl or something like this. You see some bigger chunks, you see some smaller stuff, and if you steer around, some other stuff will come up. I mean, technology is changing, the market is changing because our competitors are also active, user behaviors are changing, user demands are changing. So 1 year ago, interest rates for real estates were raising, and there was less demand for loans in that field. Energy bills were quite high, and people were looking for maybe modernization. Now this is shifting. Energy costs were decreasing in the last 10 months or 6 months, really decreasing. Well done. One of the positive things of our current government, everybody's pointing at them. That's the reason why I'm doing this kitchen table talk. That is quite popular in Germany at the moment, talking at the kitchen table about the real important stuff in life. Now this was changing, and so user behavior or the markets are changing. We see much higher competition in the field for renovation. You see more competition in photovoltaics, for example, providers. We are paying probably double for photovoltaic leads than we did 1 year ago, and this
Mm.
is quite
That's for like online advertising.
for SEA and for meta campaigns. Yeah.
Yeah. But you said something earlier that I really loved as a metaphor, which was the metaphor of the soup with different sized chunks in there. And, you're always stirring it and different things come up. So this is why the now, next, later
So
roadmap
now
is.
is what you probably are chewing in your mouth and you are already enjoying. Then the next is probably what you have actually on your spoon, because you can see it and it's not moving away, because this is what you are really working on and you are handling it currently and preparing to to eat. And then you have the whole bowl, which is for me it's the later stuff, because if you steer around, you see that probably there's some I don't know, some tofu pieces in it, and this is more interesting than I don't know, the coriander green, or other way
Amazing.
around. So it's yeah, and this is probably what you never know what the customer sees as more interesting at the moment, because this is
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah. So I hear that that's one key principle that's making you successful in rethinking products, is that now, next, later as a kind of key um, framework, tool, approach to that. What are other things that make you successful and the team and being able to rethink your product?
One thing I was doing, at least in the last two companies, we are at the moment, as I said, we are still more on this bottom right Kano quadrant, doing what we
Hygiene
need
factor.
to do,
Mhm.
kind of subject. So it's more like a little bit feature factory. I don't like the word, because still encouraged to bring in new ideas and to work around, but it's quite clear what we need to do. But we want to become more aligned autonomous teams and really have a product manager who is a product manager, not a product owner. I don't want to tell them what they have to do. And
Mhm.
this is quite easy for every if you're a CPO or head of or whatever. It's always easy to tell others what they have to do, but they're smart enough, and I wouldn't grab the ideas and the intelligence and creativity of the whole team. I mean, they are well educated. Probably we have the best people in the industry at Übersee Hub. You can find, and there's and top talents, and I want to make the best out of their creativity, and this is getting
How
to
do
a
you do that?
point, and this
How do
is
you
the
do that?
point to and this is the challenge for me, that I need to phrase the problem we want to solve, instead of telling them what they have to build. So
Yeah.
instead of giving them solutions. And I was in meetings with when we were working together at the consultancy, or even afterwards, where we're seeing board members, board directors, advisory board members, who were thinking that they have all the wisdom and know what is the solution. They're already thinking in solutions, and this needs to be built, and telling them, and even telling. I mean, even as non-experts, telling designers what should be the gradient of a button, and telling them the I don't know what kind of color, whatever, or a brightness factor they have to use. And this is tiny little detail. This is kind of micromanaging. Give people the trust that they can try out, and let them test, and and learn.
Nice. So framing the problem
Yeah,
is another key tool in addition to the now, next, later roadmap that enables you to create the space for rethinking
yeah, and
things.
maybe not doing it. I mean, this is the other part where I met Sabrina. Maybe to the audience, we used to do a very nice meetup group as we were working together on one project, and we saw this. I never forget this kind of setup where it was really hierarchical. Um, first session we were doing with this customer in a U form thing, and he was sitting at the end of the table and was, I don't know, hierarchically delivering pieces of work to his head off and to the manager and to the team assistant. And this was so ridiculous that we came up with the idea of doing a meetup group called People Culture Leadership and talking about that part. And I think this is crucial on trust building, on doing things differently, not doing it according to a paradigm because it's said, written somewhere in a theoretical book, and try it out and learn. And every organization, every team needs a different setup, and let them learn. And this is the reason why we are doing retrospectives. Um, we don't want to have. I mean, you have always red flags and yellowish and green things, and the world will never ever be green and happy only. There's always something where we will complain about, but we want to learn complaining on a higher level, maybe, and to encourage people to work on it and to learn from it, and to continuously change. And this is probably one way of culture, and not sticking to, yeah, but it's doing Scrum by the book, and it's said we have to meet every 2 weeks, and because it's written somewhere, we have to follow these rules. This is
Mm.
nonsense.
So what's interesting by the story that you're digging out, I believe, is well, we talked a little bit about rethinking products, but the story now is a little bit about rethinking leadership and what the role of leadership is in enabling actually the organization and teams to rethink products. So that starts with the leaders who set the frame
Yeah,
around saying what problem we're solving rather than saying, here's what we need to do, go and do it. That's kind of the contrast I see a little bit from the way you've described how you work within your organization, but then also the context that you've seen in the more challenging situations of an older established organization that has been successful doing that for a long time, but now with the speed of change, that is something that needs to adapt. And so, how do we rethink leadership? I think is an interesting kind of rabbit
it's
hole that we might fall into now.
it's painful. I mean, it's painful for every organization. I've seen all kind of organizations. I mean, the first company I was working for was a subsidiary, 1,500 employees. When I was working there, of a big, amazing energy company group called. So it was an ABB subsidiary at the time, and they had 150,000 employees worldwide, and it was a massive organization. And I worked in this kind of 7 hierarchical steps until you meet the MD and you can talk to them, and you will maybe the days where you won't see any of the, I don't know, the mid layer management stuff. And then I was working at the other extreme was maybe ThoughtWorks as a software consultancy, at least 6 years ago when I left it. I'm not quite sure whether it's still where it was a network organization, and you are responsible for your own career development. You have almost nobody you're reporting to, and you are responsible for your what you are doing, and you have the full trust of delivering something on the project. Of course, you have a kind of project leads, delivery leads, and client principles, stuff like this. But it's a different way of a different feeling of responsibility as a team member as well. And that's quite interesting to see at Sparkasse Bremen. I mean, it's a very traditional bank, in means of 200 years of history. But 8 years ago, they switched the organization to a network organization, which is a complete mind shift in the way they have a board of 4 people, and then they have employees, and they completely cut out the mid layers. There are no Abteilungsdirektor and Abteilungsleiter and head of and whatever directors, and to see that it's changing and it takes time and lots of discussion, and some people are picked up and some people are maybe lost or might be lost, and but you have to pick up everybody. It's much easier for a fintech which was empty, so we had no employees at all. Last year, 1st of April, when Teda and me took over, there was nobody. And the first one we employed was a working student. And we started with freelancers, and we were starting building up a company culture. And now we have something like 18, 20 people aboard. So it's much easier if you can pick people with a similar mindset than changing an existing culture, of course.
Yeah, interesting. So you had the opportunity to really, from scratch, build a culture that you think will make yourself and everyone else successful. One that you'd love to kind of work and live on. That's adaptive and reacts to change.
Yeah, correct.
And we talked about many interesting topics. And we also observed some challenges, startups versus established organizations. I'm really curious to hear a little bit about what was hard for you. What were some challenges you encountered along the way? What were surprises where you were like, oh, we thought those would work, but it just completely hit the wall? What are some of those things that went wrong and were challenging for you?
I mean, this is always when you're responsible for a product. I mean, this is probably what the majority of listeners is or viewers is experiencing every day. It becomes like your own child, your tiny little baby. You are carrying off. You are biased as well. So whenever you are talking to others, of course, your product is the best, and then you have these stupid users who are not able to use it properly, and they don't understand the feature because it's so obvious, and I understood it, I designed it, and I'm perfect. I mean, you have this often enough, and I learned it in a hard way when I was doing my own business some 15 years ago. We were doing the world's first organic salad and smoothie bar in Berlin. I mean, a concept which was not available in Germany at all. I saw some salad bars, smoothie bars in New York and London. But in 2007, there were the only fast food you were seeing were these either pizza or some rare sushi places, really rare sushi places, and lots of Asian food stuff, but nothing like health food. And
Mhm.
we were the first ones. And doing this 100% organic was a complete shift. And seeing that some parts are working, and as well seeing that it's hard times, and seeing your tiny little baby dying, and to bury it and give it up was quite a tough experience, but learned a lot. So you need to learn to release as well sometimes, and to set it free, because then other ways will come, and it will be always a positive thing you can learn from it. And it's the same we are experiencing now. We have lots of ideas, and even coolish product ideas, and sometimes it's too early for the market. It's really too early, and it's not the right time. It could be better maybe in 6 months, in 1 year, maybe in 5 years time. Sometimes it's just not hitting, or sometimes it's
How do
and
you
so
know?
it's just bad luck.
How do you know whether it's too early or just not hitting? Is there a way of knowing? Or will there
This is
be a question mark and you just put
I
it
mean,
out
if you're coming up
and
with an
see?
idea, and you see after 15 years now that you have chains with salad bars in the high street, you see that the idea was good, but it was probably too early.
All right.
But the market was not ready, and people were not valuing spending more for food. I mean, it was a time when a döner in Berlin was costing 1.95, and now you have these high expensive, I don't know, 8.50 döner things as well in Berlin sometimes, döner kebabs. So it's sometimes it's just too early. Sometimes it's just not a market fit. Could be
Yeah.
also, but
But
it's
in the moment, you
you
don't
have to
know.
experience. Sometimes it's just bad luck. It would work at a different place, but you tried out, and then you're running out of money. And I mean, this is like all your career decisions as well. It's a part is capabilities and what you are able to do, but sometimes it's just the circumstances. You have just bad luck. You have I don't know. You have somebody you're reporting to who is
Mm.
just not understanding,
How
or
do
is
you
a different
decide?
mentality, or the organization is not suiting yourself. So you can either spend your life trying to change it, or you look for a next one, which is everybody has to come to their own conclusions. There's no right or wrong. It's just that's the
Mhm.
reason why it makes no sense. It makes no sense to compare yourself with others. I mean, everybody is on their own journey, and with other given dimensions around it.
Yeah. How do you decide whether to stop like an idea, your startup or a product idea, and how do you decide whether to rethink? Do you decide that, or is it just literally money running out?
No, it's not only money running out. So it's even with some feature ideas we are stopping it, or whether we come to a conclusion that there's no real market demand. Although we have probably two, three more ideas where we thought that this is quite coolish. We built up a prototype, but we didn't find the market for it. And I'm still believing it would be cool. It would be great. It would be amazing opportunities. We came to one product developing, which is a real. It really brings lots of market opportunities for banks,
Hmm.
and they're just not picking it up. I don't know why. It's just
Are the banks
maybe
themselves?
they're over satisfied, but it's really a door opener to start discussions, and they're just not grabbing the opportunity. But it's maybe too big to fail. I don't understand why they're not using it as a. It's a quite cheap in comparison to what you're usually paying for creating a lead, for reanimating somebody into a discussion, for rewarming a client relationship, but they're just not picking it. But it's okay. So at the end, it's the yeah, it's something you come to a point, and then you say, okay, it's maybe not the right time. Let's continue on something else. And it's not only the money is running out. No, this would be the last thing.
Yes.
It's better to understand it earlier.
That's the final forcing function.
Yeah.
Um, nice, but I hear it's really prototyping, testing, validating, looking at signals in the market, and if there are no strong signals, or literally you don't see people picking up the idea, even though in theory it's good, then that's an indicator. Okay, let's stop this, pause this, maybe put this into the ice box. And if the market changes, you can always pull it out of your pocket and say, "Oh, I prepared something earlier,"
Yeah.
and you can hit the
Well,
ground
see,
running.
the interesting point, or it's changing the viewpoint from being a consultant at a consultancy, and building solutions together with a client,
Hmm.
either B2B or B2C or B2B2C products, and really being responsible for it, and creating something, and you have to create a value. You have to be you're responsible for bringing value and creating leads, or you need to convert somehow or
Yes,
monetize.
super, super important. And I wonder now for people listening who are have the question top of their mind. Amazing. I realize I need to be able to rethink things, products, ideas, companies. What would be your tips for getting started on that?
For getting started, so different ways to do it. So one is, of course, finding people who have a similar mindset. So you can always go to conferences in the field, or maybe to conferences in other fields. This was helping me in the beginning pretty much to go to product conferences. And to not only to listen to the talks. I mean, you find talks on YouTube and these days, and maybe on the product conference pages. But it's quite important as well to start networking and to exchange, because I think everybody is facing more or less a similar problems. Users are not using the app. Users are not understanding your feature, and maybe I'm not explaining it in a proper way. Maybe I'm not giving a solution to the user demands. Maybe I haven't listened properly as well. So being self-reflective, and I think everybody is facing the same in our business, and so this could be one step: going to meetup groups, find something in your city or in a neighboring place, or looking around, going to conferences, reading some stuff, reading amazing books as some basics, and they're really good books in product management and probably in design as well. And there's an endless list I could recommend to walk through, and listening to podcasts like yours, because you are meeting amazing people, and there are some others of other product leaders who are giving insights in their daily business, and this could be also an eye opener, and challenge yourself and try out new things. And if you're already at the point where you can do it. And it's a different thinking in software industry, and this is quite interesting as well, that software industry works differently to I don't know, if you're building hardware. I mean, if you're building a table, it needs to be a functioning table when you're delivering it to a customer. I mean, you can't go afterwards to every household in Germany and say, "Oh, I forgot to put the legs in it." That's the reason why it's just not working as a table. With software, you can deliver every day, and you can release again and change stuff.
Yeah, nice. Amazing. Thank you, Jens. Anything else for getting started? Or maybe if someone's already on their journey of rethinking, is there a pro tip to nudge them even further?
I would really, and this is the overcoming with paradigms. So I mean, it's to follow some rules in the beginning is quite good if you're really starting as a team and want to become more agile. I would describe our approach as kind of radical agile. So there are only 2, 3 rituals we are keeping. We completely stopped doing estimation sessions, for example. So it's another discussion, and we can fill a complete podcast probably about talking about estimations and planning sessions. And this is coming back to road mapping for unsecure managers. You need roadmaps, and you need planning sessions, because you want to force developers to deliver the other story ticket as well in the next 7 days. Instead of delivering good code quality and stuff like this. So it depends on what is important for you and what is important for the team. And so the only things we are doing, and we are working 100% remote, or almost 100%. We are just getting together every now and then, and something like every 2 months, and doing collaboration days. But we are spread all over, almost all over Europe with our tiny little team. So in Germany, but as well in other countries. So we are doing a daily session every morning, getting together. What have I worked on yesterday? What am I doing today? Do I have any blockers, impediments? This is quite important, just to have this kind of checkpoint still. And we are doing retrospectives every 2 weeks, something like this, getting together as a team and learning from each other. And then everything else is you do as your daily job, and align and discuss. And these are the real rituals we are doing, and then of course we have something like all hands meeting, where we are sharing company wide news and learnings, and and stuff like this.
Yeah, fascinating. So, what I heard is start with maybe what's written in books, but then as your second step is also be bold to experiment and diverge from that and see what works best in your context.
Yeah, it's the
So you
same like
said,
Ariel was always saying. I'm like I'm using the Spotify model. I mean, this is this kind of it's coolish, but I think even Spotify teams are not using the Spotify model. Every of them, but every team is doing their own model approach and aligning. And I think this is quite important that define the ways of work by every team itself and see and stuff which is working in one team setup is not working in the other team setup. Some like to have Kanban boards, some like to have more on a higher level and take a story card as just a one-liner and discussing it. And some really want to have it predefined to the last line and acceptance criteria. So it's just try out.
yeah, super interesting. I would love to tie things back to our overall topic now, Jens, creating better products. How does what we discussed today around rethinking products, rethinking leadership, rethinking ways of working a little bit as well, how does that enable us to create better products?
To yeah, as we summarizing, it's really to give if you're in a leadership function, give the space and give room to explore and give the freedom to or the opportunity to make failures and to learn from it. I think this is crucial, and then everything else will follow. I think
Mm-hmm.
because I nobody is really forcing to damage or to bring damage to a company. This would be, I mean, this is a no-go, and then you will identify these people immediately, and people who want to hide themselves, also you will see. No difference whether they are on spot and you're forcing them to be in an office and presence, or if they are working from home, you will see the people are hiding. Earlier or later, you will find it out. And this is one side, and from a team member perspective, try to encourage internal little steps, give feedback to others, and to try to change together or accept the change.
And how does that help us create better products? Why can't we just, stay in the old world?
You could do it. Sometimes it's working, probably. I mean, you see companies in a very traditional setups, and they're building cool products as well. It's just a mindset. I couldn't do it. For myself, I found out that this is not the atmosphere I want to work in.
Mm-hmm. So it means you personally
Hierarchies and following strict rules. It's I would feel myself limited to my own horizon, and I want to see the other perspectives as well, because then this widens the horizon, my own as well.
are. Mm-hmm. So it's about how you and maybe the people in your organization work best by creating that environment and by creating that space where you can be at your best, you create better products. But the other thing I heard is being able to see new perspectives, new horizons. That also adds to the kinds of products that you're building and the kind of value that you're creating.
Indeed, fully agree.
Wonderful. Jens, it was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. Uh, Two final questions. You have a wealth of knowledge. Where do you get your information from? What are resources, books, podcasts that you would recommend to our listeners?
As I'm podcast addicted, so there are plenty of product podcasts, and there are plenty of ones which are still in my playlist I haven't listened to and want to try to find out. This is one source of inspiration. Um,
Any particular one that's maybe top of mind that you enjoyed recently?
um, There are, I can share later and give you a list and you can put it into the show notes. Don't want to raise one here, but you can, I can give you a bunch of ones. Other source of inspiration is I'm reading a lot and I'm still book addicted, and even with paper books, and not only, I have an e-reader, I really love it, but as well love books. And one inspiration source was Turn a Ship Around, which was an amazing book in leadership and how to think about stuff, and complete different area. It's about U.S. Navy and the naval ship, and the commander of nuclear driven submarine, I think, and this was a powered ship. I don't know the exact name of it, but it's an amazing way on. As a leader, I don't need to know every tiny little detail on board, and I don't need to know everything about. So if I'm the MD of a company, I don't need to know exactly what the designers are doing, and the UX researcher and the UX writer and the front end and back end developers. And this would be micromanagement. And this is what happens in a lot of industries. And you have these tiny little these shop runners, and every decision needs to go over the desks. But this drives every person crazy. It's like aligning people and make or shift followers into leader positions, and everybody leading their own responsibility. I think this is an amazing book to read, and as well, there are plenty of good novels to read. Um,
I love that book too, by the way. My key takeaway that is still stuck in my head is act your way to new thinking. That was the core message that's still resonating with me today from Turn That Ship Around, that you don't
yeah.
convince people with arguments. Get people to try things out, and by doing it, you'll start to see the value. So really great book. Love it too. But you were about to recommend some novels, I believe.
And maybe a novel. I just recently read Riddle of the Sands by Erskine Childers. And this is quite fascinating. I didn't know it. It was written in, I think, 1904, so more than 120 years ago. And it's a first Spanish novel which was written or in this part. So the predecessor of all the James Bond whatever things. And it was it's about sailing as well. It's in the North Sea. It's highlighting that call. I mean, 120 years ago, we were still in the Prussian Empire, or in the German Caesar Empire, and pre World War One, and thinking. And this is an amazing story, and I deeply loved it because it also shifted my perspective on what situation people were in, and that was quite cool. So sometimes it's even reading a novel could be quite inspirational, and changing a mindset and how to tackle and how to think about things and thoroughly think about things.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a strong believer that novels help us to learn new perspective, feel empathy with things that we didn't know before, and that helps us to create better products too. So thank you for sharing those recommendations. Now, where can people find you, Jens?
And of course, the easiest way is reach out on LinkedIn and message me, and then we can meet up for an espresso break and discuss topics. Or you find me somewhere between Berlin and Bremen, where our company is. So we are remotely working. So I'm Potsdam based, but often in Berlin. I'm often in Bremen. Um, if you're sailing around, you can maybe find me on the sea and reach out as well.
Thank you so much, Jens, for joining me today. It was truly a pleasure talking to you.
Indeed, the same. Thanks for having me, and deeply enjoyed the discussion with you as well.
Thank you, Jens. And now a question to our listeners. What is your experience with rethinking? Rethinking products, rethinking ideas, rethinking leadership? How have you been able to do this? And what were your successes and what were your setbacks? Um, Please share your experience in the comments or with me directly. I would love to hear from you and maybe have you as a guest on this show soon. And finally, if you enjoyed the episode as much as I did, please share it with your network and give us a like in your favorite streaming platform. And by doing this, you help to elevate the voice of our wonderful guests. And today, this was Jens. So thank you and see you next time.